Good afternoon. Thank you for your follow-up appointment to do some sensory testing to see whether or not there's anything that you are particularly sensitive to. And there's two different ways that we're going to test for this. We're going to be doing a topical skin test, and that involves gently irritating the skin in certain areas and then applying a topical substance. So things that are stimulants, common allergies, we're going to be applying a very small amount to the skin, and then we'll also be following up with some blood work to see about highly reactive things that you might be experiencing discomfort, allergic reactions, sensory related issues that you would normally ingest. So, how are you feeling today? Tired? I understand. We'll try to make this a relaxing enough experience so that it's hopefully not too unpleasant. Okay. What I'd like to do first is start by cleaning some areas of the skin, and we're going to be doing the topical testing here on the sides of your neck, and then some of the other tests right around your clavicle area, okay? I'm going to take a disinfectant wipe, and then I'm going to wash this off with some distilled water. So we're going to start just with these areas here. And have you noticed anything over the last couple of days? Any kind of foods, any kind of patterns, any kind of topicals like sunscreen or makeup, fragrances, anything like that that have caused any kind of discomfort? Just area right here. And also on your right side. Sometimes this can be a little bit of a ticklish area, so I'll try to use a little bit more pressure. And then your chest area here. Okay, very good. I'm just going to take some distilled water and I'm going to wash that area a little bit more. And this is because we don't want the area to be contaminated with the disinfectant, okay? So again, in those same areas. I know the gloves that I'm going to be wearing are nitrile. They're synthetic, so they shouldn't have any material that will be causing additional sensitivities or reactions, okay? Alrighty. So I'm going to be taking something that looks an awfully lot like a makeup spoolie, and I'm going to rather aggressively rub the skin, and it might not feel very nice, but what we want to do is we want to sort of exfoliate the area, make the skin a little bit more receptive to the contents we're going to be putting on them, okay? And I know with this being on the neck area, the skin sometimes be a little ticklish, so if that gets to be too much, just let me know and we'll figure out another method, okay? I'm going to start on your left side. It's a little ticklish, I know. Is that manageable though? Okay. do the same on your right side. Down to the chest area, right above your clavicle. I know that can be a very ticklish area. Are you alright? Okay. Okay. Pretty good. Just going to look at the areas and see if there's any broken skin, if there's any other irritations that I need to be cautious about, okay? So I'm going to take a little magnified light and just get really close to the skin area and inspect it a little bit. Just going to stretch the skin just a little bit here. Well, that's about what I would expect. So I think the reaction is normal. So we're going to move on to some of the contents, okay? So the first thing that I'm going to start with is caffeine. Caffeine can be something that you apply topically. Sometimes it can be incorporated into skin regimens. So we're going to start with caffeine, and obviously it's something that can be ingested. And I'm going to take a little bottle here, and these are going to contain various different types of common allergens. So start on your left side here. I'm going to apply it in that area right there on your neck. So we're going to do 3 on each side. And another very common topical irritant can be nickel. A lot of jewelry can be made with nickel in it, and it can be very reactive to the skin. So what we have is a saturated liquid form that is in saline, and this is going to hopefully be very uneventful, but it can be one of the single most common irritants. So we're going to take that, we're just going to swipe it very gently and very small amount on your neck right here. I'm just going to grab another cotton swab here. And our next is some of the common chemicals that are used in fragrances. So perfumes, if you've ever had any kind of a perfume, or even candles, something like that, that causes irritation of the throat, nose, and headaches, yeah. So these are some of the common chemicals that you'll find in those fragrances. And slide that very gently right there. Okay, you can immediately feel that one. Very, very common. And I hope apologize, I misspoke. We're going to do 4 on each side. So let me get another cotton swab. And our next is going to be chemicals often found in hair dye, so ammonia peroxide. And this is kind of a multi-chemical test. So if you ever use any kind of hair colorant, these are 2 very common ingredients. I'm going to let those areas sit for a couple of moments while we move on to your other side. So one common irritant that we see is urushiol oil. It's often something that you acquire outside: poison ivy, poison oak, poison sumac. Those types of oils, very, very irritating. This is going to be a very diluted concentration of that. So it won't hopefully overreact, but it's very likely that you're going to feel this almost immediately, okay? So I'm going to apply this at the very top right here. The next is going to be a form of formaldehyde. I know that sounds kind of scary, but it is often a formaldehyde resin that is found in various different types of clothing, like wool, for instance. It's not necessarily the wool that is irritating to the skin, but the formaldehyde resin used to help preserve it. So we're going to test for that topically. That's going to be just under urushiol oil. Okay, good job. Do you feel any of these areas getting itchy? Okay. Are they manageable? Alrighty. Well, if that changes, let me know, okay? Alright. And now neomycin. And this is often a disinfectant found in various different types of oils. Not oils, I'm sorry, but topical skin treatments like neosporin and antibiotics. A lot of people react to it. Alrighty. And the last for this area is going to be commonly used ingredients in sunscreens. So, I'm just going to swipe this on the last portion of your neck here. Okay. Take a preliminary look at those areas again with my little lighted microscope here. So, okay, just going to pull on the skin a little bit and see if there's any kind of tightness or inflammation beginning. Okay. It might be a little bit too early to tell, so we're going to just continue with the exam. Okay. You're doing great, though. So some of the other things that people often have reactions to are ingestible. Clearly, if you're experiencing stomach indigestion or discomfort, especially after eating something, the suspicion that you might be overreactive to certain things, foods, is there. This requires blood work, so I'm going to prep one of your arms and just draw a little bit of blood. These test results might take a couple of days to come back to us. So, is that all right? Do you have any arm in particular that you prefer to give blood? Your left? Okay. Understandably. going to just pull up your sleeve here. And can you make a fist for me and pump your fist? Okay. I'm just going to cleanse the skin here. Can you make a fist and hold it for me? Prep. The area here. Okay. Apply just a little bit of iodine and let that sit for a moment. Okay. Go ahead and release your fist. Just try to relax. Okay, just be very gentle as much as I can be, okay? Okay, good job. I'm gonna leave that to rest right there and connect this little vial here. Good job. And okay, apply pressure and then remove it. You okay there? Okay. And if you need to, go ahead and curl up your elbow and just kind of hold that piece of cotton right in between. Okay. So we'll get this into the lab and we'll be looking for how reactive you are to things like cow's milk, eggs, tree nuts, peanuts, shellfish, wheat, soy, and fish. Okay. These are also things that we can test for topically a little bit as well. So just as a preliminary, I'm going to take a little bit of each one of those and use a slightly sharp surface to agitate the area and then administer one drop all of those contents, okay? So I'm going to take a sterile poker and just 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. It doesn't feel that great, I'm sorry. Okay, so let's start with cow's milk. This is going to contain things like lactose, so just put a little bit there. And then we get another swab. Okay, this is for egg sensitivity. Okay, another swab. Common tree nuts. Okay. And the blood work will actually have a lot more specificity. And the blood work will also have a lot more specifics about what type of tree nuts. So if you do have a sensitivity, that'll give us, is it an almond? Is it cashews, beech nuts, things like that, okay? We have peanuts. Okay. We have a shellfish. And wheat. Soy. And fish. Okay. Good job. And how do any of those areas feel? Do you feel any one area in particular that's stronger, more irritated than others? Okay. I'm going to take a look at the first couple of areas here, and then we'll clean your skin, and I'll document some of the findings. So looking on the left side of your neck here. This side looks pretty good except for the one at the bottom here, so it looks like you might have a sensitivity to chemicals used in fragrance, such as perfumes. Okay. Now your other side. Definitely the urushiol oil. Okay. Very, very common. Okay. Possibly sunscreens. So the blood work will actually give us a little bit more clarity on what chemicals specifically in sunscreen to avoid. But for now, I'm going to clean off those areas of the skin, and then we'll take a closer look at the areas on your chest, okay? And I can see those areas also starting to have a little bit of irritation too. Especially that top one there. Definitely reacting. Alrighty. So we're going to add check mark to fragrances and also definitely the urushiol oil and possibly sunscreens. Going to examine the skin on the clavicle area. Let's just take a quick look. It does look like you're having a reaction to the tree nuts and reactive to cow's milk. Okay. So it gives us a little bit of an indicator. I'm going to clean the skin a little bit. So without seeing the blood results for specific allergens, I would highly recommend doing something like an elimination diet just for a couple of days until we can get the conclusions on the blood work. So eliminating any kind of dairy, milk from your diet, tree nuts for now. I know there's a lot of different types of tree nuts out there. It's just for a couple of days. Maybe just exclude them from your diet. And keep a food journal if there's anything in particular that you feel bloated or lethargic or kind of stomach cramping afterwards. Write it down and then we can go over those results in a couple of days once we get the blood work back, okay? Okay, I think we got all those areas in your neck again. Okay. Alrighty, my dear. I think that's going to conclude our exam for today. I'll be in touch with you in the next couple of days as the blood results come in. And again, in the meantime, just document any type of discomfort that you have after eating certain meals, what they contain, and we'll adjust according to that temporarily until we can get final results. Okay. If these areas of the skin become too irritated, what I'd probably recommend is just use very gentle soap and water. Wash the areas down. These areas contain a lot of oils in the skin, and a lot of times that can hold in the chemicals. So using just a very gentle, non-abrasive soap will be the best option, okay? Alright. Well, thank you for stopping in, and I'll be in touch in the next couple of days.